for society's most vulnerable members, especially victims of the disease and stigma of HIV/AIDS. Maritxa has worked for the Puerto Rican Cultural Center Vives, located in the heart of the Puerto Rican Latino community of Humboldt Park since 1997. That's 15 years. She provides bilingual and culturally sensitive HIV/AIDS education, counseling, and testing in the city of Chicago and 11 surrounding suburbs. In addition to working to eradicate the HIV/AIDS epidemic, Maritxa is also deeply committed to fighting for the rights of the LGBTQI community, especially her transgender sisters and those who are undocumented. As a transgender woman of color in Chicago, she has experienced discrimination and violence firsthand. And during the height of the HIV/AIDS epidemic in the 80s, she lost many of her closest friends. Unable to deal with the pain of losing so many loved ones, she turned to drugs, and for 14 years she suffered the effects of addiction, including homelessness and resorting to sex work before turning her life around. Thus, while being recognized for her contributions to ending the HIV/AIDS epidemic and empowering the country's most marginalized people, she dedicates all of her success to her brothers and sisters who are not as lucky as she is and cannot be here today because of discrimination and disease. She is committed to dedicating every day of the rest of her life to making the world a safer, healthier, more accepting place for all. Presently, Maritxa is an executive board member for the Trans Latina Coalition and a co-chair for its Chicago chapter. The Trans Latina Coalition is a national association to increase equality for trans Latinas, including undocumented trans Latinas in the U.S. and Puerto Rico. And as of last Friday, July 1st, Maritxa joined the Board of Trustees for Chicago House. Please welcome special guest Maritxa Vidal. Thank you, Lalo, for those beautiful flowers. Don't forget to submit the receipt. Give it to the museum. They won't know what to do with it.
Everybody.
So, Maritxa, did you want to say something before we get right into it?
Sure. First of all, I want to thank you. I want to thank Vives too. I think this is an awesome idea. It's our way of bringing us all together to explore and to enjoy nuestra latinidad, nuestras raíces. Believe me, without la sazón hispana, United States won't be with us today, okay? So it's us that bring it.
Yes. You immigrated from Cubana, in 1966, and your family settled primarily in Skokie, Illinois. What was the connect? Why Skokie?
Actually, because there was a company. It was making the TVs, I think it was Magnavox or Siemens, and most immigrants that were coming in the middle to late 60s would get hired there because nobody else wanted to do that work. My father would come home with blisters every day in his hands from handling those picture tubes, real hot. And, so it was more of a way of the best job in the apartment close by. He didn't know how to drive. In Cuba, very few people have cars. So it was full of conflicts. That it was weird. There was nothing but German and Jewish people around us, you know. We don't speak German, and we don't speak Jewish, so.
And shortly after that, you came out to your family. And what was that experience like? It was around the 70s.
In 1972, I don't know my age. In 1972, at the age of 15, so you guys can figure out how old I am right now, I came out. It was hell the first week. They couldn't kick me out of the house because I was 15 years old. I didn't feel like running away because I wanted mommy's cooking and I like my laundry done. I had the best of both worlds. So, but I was very blessed. I was very blessed because even though my father was the hardest one, right away, within 3 months I would say, I had my mother's boy and blessing, my brother and my My father came along around a year later. And then at the age of 18, as soon as I turned 18, I flew the coop. I wanted freedom, you know. And I like what I had discovered, you know. And, you know, it was different. I didn't know how different until I walked into a beauty salon in California and Portland. And I met this blonde bombshell named Delcina. And I did not know that Delcina was a male. And it was like an instant, that's me. That's me. See, I knew all along it was so different. But I couldn't quite put my finger. Remember, this is 1973, 74. It wasn't like transgenders were, you know, coming out of the woodwork. You know, it was hard. And right away, at the age of 18, I started my transition.
And you talk about that, like in the 70s, people that you were arrested numerous times. Can you talk a little bit about the 3 articles of clothing or what that means for people who don't know?
In Chicago, in the books, there was an ordinance that you were born a male or a female and you were dressed in the clothing of the opposite sex. In order for the police not to arrest you and charge you with whatever was something to commit crime or you must wear 3 articles of the clothing of the sex group. In other words, if you were a male, you had to have men's underwear, men's socks, or maybe a favorite shirt, whatever. If you were a female dressed as a male, you still must wear a bra or panties. You have to have 3 articles of clothing. And at that time, I got a job at Dorado. It was one of the first Spanish gay bars here. Alexis knows what I'm talking about. On Halstead, we had a
Colorado.
Noche de Ronda. There was another one. He'll come to me pretty soon. And we were a small LGBT community, Latinos, but God, were we proud. If somebody did something against one of us, you better be careful, because we were worse than the damn Latin Kings, gangsters, and all that. We come after your ass. We had to. There were different times. People were literally attacked us in the street. And in Dorado, the police made it in the summer of 1978. I was one of the waiters there, and they would have it for us. And every weekend here would come the cops, and every weekend here they would handcuff me. Toward August, they would tell me, get in the car. Because they knew I refused to wear no damn 3 articles of clothing. Finally, a judge was sick and tired of seeing me there, that he told the 2 cops that if they brought me in one more time, they were the ones that were going to be sent and sit behind the desk. So even the judge got tired. And that law was in the books till 1984. Till 1984. It was rarely used by some stupid cops. If they had it in for you, they would use it. So it was hard times.
You've been at the Puerto Rican Cultural Center, Vives, for 15 years. Can you tell us how politically important the PRCC, Vives, is for folks who don't have that context?
Okay, the Puerto Rican Cultural Center was founded almost 40 years ago by brothers and sisters Lopez Rivera. And the reason it was created was because 40 years ago, Humboldt Park in the Division area, as we know today, Paseo Boricua, was nothing but actually white rich families with good buildings, rent at high exorbitant prices in slum neighborhoods. That's why the riots of 1973, the riots of 76 and 77, which I was a part of them, I like exactly. So the Puerto Rican Cultural Center was formed in order, in those years, to represent, advocate, and literally fight for the rights of the Puerto Rican people. Here would be soldiers coming from Vietnam, Puerto Rican men, Puerto Rican women that were nurses at that time, and they would come in, and it was worse than now. If you think the gays are treated bad, which I think they are, I don't think our veterans are given the resources and everything that they deserve for putting their life on the line for this freedom that we have right now, every day. I think our veterans deserve much more than they're getting. And in those years, it was still worse. So the Puerto Rican Cultural Center was formed to help the Puerto Rican and Latino community. And through the years, He's gained a lot of political allies. We have representatives, we have senators. We just met a few of us that are here in this room. With Senator Dick Durbin, Democrat from Illinois. The Puerto Rican Social Center is very active in the LGBTQ movement. Back in the 70s, I don't know if you guys remember when black was beautiful. Every family wanted to have their black token friend, because it was true. Let's not be hypocrite about it. Same thing the last 2 or 3 years. Transgender is the thing in now. So now every agency wants to hire a transgender. Or every group wants to have a transgender in their group. A lot of them is for money, let's be honest. Money makes the world go round. The Puerto Rican Cultural Center hired me, actually, it was 18 years ago. Before it was the norm. I have had over 10 transgender individuals work with me through the years at the Puerto Rican Cultural Center. And they've always fought for our rights. They have let me get away with things that no other agency would. I can drop things, I can leave work at the drop of a hat if I'm here in another state, or marches or protests. And the only reason I can do that is because we share that political view. You can talk until the cows come home. And unless you put action behind your words, nothing's going to be accomplished. That's why I love Jenny said, and I consider her a friend. Sometimes people don't realize that you have to do things that might look like extreme, and they might be. That's the only way you get on TV, or you get on the media, or you get people's attention. If you try to be politically correct, and you want to be calm and sweet and kumbaya, it ain't working. It ain't working, honey. So I'm going to kumbaya, I'm going to tell you something else.
Maritxa, when I kind of prefaced the conversation a little bit, I did talk a little bit about you were experiencing addiction for 14 years. I have a couple of questions related to that. Addiction and sobriety are hard on their own, and if you add LGBTQ, most programs aren't sensitive to LGBTQ people, which means that a lot of LGBTQ people end up needing treatment. In many cases, trans people are put in units based on their sex assigned at birth. What did that look like when you were dealing with addiction?
I was ready to stop using. I had really hit bottom. But I knew I needed help. And I went to a place, many of you have heard of it, it's called Haymarket in Chicago. And Father McDermott, which is the priest that actually started Haymarket, was wonderful with me, but very politely he explained that he had to put me on the men's section. And that weekend was very crowded, so they could not afford to put me with myself. And I was put in a room, more like a cell, but in a room with beds with 7 men. That night I remember about 2 in the morning, I was pinned down. And they were going to rape me. They were going to rape me. The first punch came, and I saw las estrellas. And the second punch came, just blood was gushing out of my nose. If his hand being, because the security guard was making the rounds at that moment. I really don't know, but I know what would have happened. But I don't think it would have stopped with rape, because they wouldn't have wanted me to talk about it. So I truly deep down believe that I would have not seen the light of day. It was so scary. The next morning I checked myself out and went straight to the dope dealer. I've seen many brothers and sisters of my gay community have to leave treatment for the same reason. I've seen many of them that has had enough. They are tired, they are done. There's no safe place for them to go for a 28 or a 30-day treatment period. They can go to a hospital for a detox, 2 or 3 days. But anyone around here that knows or has any family member or friend on drugs, 2 or 3 days is not enough. You need longer. And there's no facilities. There's none right now, as we speak 2016, that caters or helps the LGBTQ community. And that is such a shame. Because there are so many wonderful brains and hearts out there that are ready to stop, and all they need is that little help. And there's no one there to help them. Things have to change. And I've always said, like I said again, and I keep saying it, Kumbaya, I'm going to change it. You know, change comes around with revolution. The revolution is when you're ready to stand up and demand your rights. As a transgender individual, I don't need special treatment, honey. I want what everyone else in this room wants. I want to be treated with dignity. I want to be treated with respect. And I want to be able to turn around and know that there's a force of policemen out there that we pay with our tax money, ready to serve and protect me. Not to be the first ones to beat me up, or spit at me, or hit me, or make fun of me. All we're asking is to give us the same rights as any other resident in this country. That's all we ask for.
Thank you for sharing. With all the trans visibility in mainstream pop culture, primarily trans women in the last 3 years, from Carmen Carrera on RuPaul's Drag Race, Orange is the New Black in 2013, Janet Mock's Redefining Realness in February 2014, Caitlyn Jenner's 2020 interview
That's a different case.
in April 2015. What has that meant for you?
Well, you know, anytime any marginalized group gets visibility, is good. It's good because we can use that visibility to our benefit, to point out our problems. That's why I said don't mention that person, because that person doesn't belong in the same group. If I were a millionaire, and within 30 days, boom, little magic wand, and feminize myself, that'd be great. But see, it doesn't work that way. You know, when my sisters or my brothers in the trans community started the transition, we don't have $50,000, $60,000, or $70,000 to kind of please society. So therefore, the trans woman gets to be feminized or look feminine, the trans man has to, because society dictates that's what a man or a woman is supposed to look like. So we go the different route. So I'm going to talk about me as a trans woman. The hormone treatments. The same hormone treatments that have caused me 3 huge fights with cancer. Which is, the last one was in 2008. People that know I had a huge scar all over my forehead. Because, as I said, I don't have the $50,000, $75,000 to finance my face and go under the knife, 2 or 3 plastic surgeries, one after the other. Those same hormone therapies wreak havoc with your health. And then you add to the mix, besides the danger and the side effects, you have cripples, SOBs out there that are just there for the money. You know, we had a girl in California that went for Botox treatment and silicone. This young lady was injected with motor oil. She literally burned from the inside out. What freaking human being does that to another human being? We were talking a little while ago, Frankie mentioned, statistics say that every 29 hours, a transgender is killed. Those are the ones that are killed. We still have to add to the mix the ones that commit suicide, the ones that in treatments like that with quad puffs find your death. So now we're looking at the structural damage, like our leader Bobby Salcedo from Trans Latina. Transgenders, we're fighting a battle in 3 or 4 fronts. We are fighting the system, the government, the men. We are fighting unrealistic hatred. We are fighting the stigma. See, ignorance, when a person is ignorant of something, you fear it. And instead of getting to know me, you prefer to kill me. Doesn't make any sense. I'm just going to say something, and I'm sure most of you can relate to this. I'm sure everybody in this room remembers 9/11 when the towers came down. The next 2 or 3 days after the towers, I myself would walk downtown and I would be looking up at buildings, wondering if that building was going to come down. There was a fear that permeated the air the next 3 or 4 days, and people would feel it. Or imagine that is the same damn fear that me and my sisters experience every single freaking day. We know when we leave our homes, but we don't know if we're coming back that evening. Why should a human being have to live like that? With a constant fear, when we don't know when a nut is going to jump out of a corner, shoot us or stab us, just because we want to live our life on our terms. I'm going to tell you one thing. It hurt me so much when those brothers and sisters were killed in Orlando. It hurt me worse than some unscrupulous preachers said. But I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm here. I have gone through hell and back in my life. And I'm going to be 60 years old in 2 months. And I'll be damned if I go back in that closet because of any son of a bitch. I'm here to stay.
For the past couple of years, states like Texas, Arizona, Wisconsin have made attempts to pass transphobic bills that require people to use public restrooms based on sex they were assigned at birth. Most notably, Tennessee and North Carolina succeeded. What are your thoughts on this wave of bills that are popping up around the bathrooms?
Again, that's politicians trying to take away the little steps that we move forward. They, of course, hide it. Of course, they hide it behind stuff like the bathroom issue. Let's be sincere. It's just pee. You can pee next to me anytime you want. It doesn't bother me. I mean, it's normal human action, you know, and they're making this huge thing about it. There was a transgender woman killed in the bathroom. I think it was in Texas. And the lady that killed her just got a slap in the hand. Slap in the hand. Because she was a fear. She feared for her life because the transgender was screaming, I want to use this bathroom. I'm not going to the other bathroom. She's lucky it wasn't me, because I wouldn't have screamed. I would have slapped her face against the counter. She wouldn't have had a chance to get that done. But what happened? She got away with murder. This woman, nowadays, why? Because the life of a transgender, to certain powers there be, are nothing. Our life means nothing to certain groups of politicians and certain people. You know? The value of a human life has disappeared. That's what you were talking with Frankie earlier. You know, you hear on the TV the shootings. A 5-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 3-year-old. Who the hell can shoot a 3-year-old? Human life is devalued. And a transgender life is almost non-existent in value. It's zero.
So I'm going to move into the questions that people are submitting. Have you or will you return to Cuba to visit?
Visit, yes. To live, no. Remember, I came here when I was 9 years old. This is my country. I'm proud of being Cuban and being Latina. But, you know, come on. 51 years here, you know?
I'm just asking the questions.
I actually never thought of it for right now. That's good. That's good.
So the other one is you won numerous awards, the Harvey Milk Award, and a couple of other awards. Which one is the most memorable?
Oh my God, the Henrietta Lars. The Henrietta Lars Award. That lady, I mean, before her, you know, her blood makes so much advances in science. Here's this African-American woman back in the 60s. Here we go again, when there was no equal rights for the African-American brothers and sisters. And here, Harriet Allard, her blood, her cells went all over the world. They have helped with polio vaccine, with hundreds of other diseases. And I was the first transgender ever to receive that award. That award is given to 5 females every year. And when I received it from the granddaughter of Harriet Allard. So that really meant to me a lot.
What are your thoughts on Orlando? You said that you wanted to expand on that.
You know, for a human being to be so hateful, to want to go into a public place and shoot discriminate human beings, to try and act like God or a high power, whatever your beliefs are. No human being has the right, in my opinion, my humble opinion, to take another human life. Unless you're in self-defense, because there are some sort of peace out there. That is different. But to go to a public place just because I don't agree with you or I don't like you, and to mow down and count down 49 human beings, I will not, and every single time I've been introduced since June 12, I refuse to use that man's name, because to me that's a monster that should have never been born. And that's the way I refer to him in all my interviews on TV and radio, a monster. I will not dignify or give him 1 second of fame by using his name. But what gets me pissed, worse, is how they have tried to switch it around. And instead of calling it what it is, which is an awful act of hate, now they're trying to bring it around where the guy was gay. They're kind of hinting at it. The FBI hasn't really come out and said it. His ex-wife kind of hints on it. So now we're going to switch. And instead of calling it like it is, one of the worst hate crimes committed against a group of individuals in our society, now we could say, oh, it was one member of that society that was mad and wanted to shoot. That is disgusting. You know, to me, that shows no respect and even no dignity for those souls that were downtown that morning in Orlando. You know, they should show a little more dignity and respect and not go out with innuendos or drop little hints in there. But then again, we know how the FBI in this country works, let's face it. I mean, I'm not, no, but we know they do whatever they feel like. And they infiltrate and they drop their little things. And it's going to be what's going to be, but it's awful.
I want to say, Maritxa, thank you for everything that you've done in the, your whole life, but 2 in particular, the day-to-day work that you do at USC that often doesn't get recognized. So thank you so much, and thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you, my love. Thank you, guys.